by President Trump. Oh, John, I'm sorry. I'm not used to you being...
No trouble. Just punch me in the shoulder.
Sorry about that. Sorry about
President Trump earlier today, as we mark 2 years since the barbaric attacks by Hamas on October the 7th. Robert O'Brien joining us in just a moment with his thoughts. But first, our chief foreign correspondent, Trey Yingst. He's live in Tel Aviv. And Trey, where were you at this time 2 years ago?
Yeah, John, Sandra, good afternoon. This time 2 years ago, we were in southern Israel along the Gaza border after thousands of terrorists infiltrated into this country. On that devastating day, nearly 1,200 people were killed and more than 250 taken hostage. We know that 48 still remain in Hamas captivity. 20 of them are believed to be alive. American-led peace talks started yesterday in Egypt amid a renewed push to reach an agreement by the end of the week. If the deal does progress, all of the remaining captives would be exchanged for 250 Palestinian prisoners serving life sentences and 1,700 Gazans arrested since the beginning of the conflict. As Israelis mark the solemn anniversary, they're also watching closely these talks that could end the war.
Today we're standing here in memory of all the Israelis and other nationalities that were murdered on that day by Hamas, and also calling for the return of all the hostages and the end of the war in Gaza. We're calling the entire world and President Trump to make the deal happen.
Inside Gaza, Israeli strikes continue as ground forces remain within the enclave. Over the weekend, President Trump called on Israel to immediately stop bombing Gaza as the ceasefire talks progress. Since then, dozens of Palestinians have been killed, adding to a death toll that sits at tens of thousands.
2 years of war have meant the end of our future, our homes, our family. It has meant the loss of loved ones, a psychological strain, exhaustion, many injuries.
There is a growing consensus on both sides of the border. This war needs to end. The hostages must be released and suffering for Palestinian civilians alleviated. John?
I remember listening in shocked silence to what was going on 2 years ago and your excellent reporting literally from the scene. What are your thoughts when you look back on that?
It's a lot to take in, and it sounds cliche, but there are no winners in war. Over the past 2 years, we have seen a devastating period for the Middle East. October 7th was the deadliest attack on Jews since the Holocaust. The war that followed led to the highest death toll among Palestinian civilians in the history of their people. And when you look at who's paying the highest price here, it's the civilian population on both sides of the border. And looking back, it was such a horrific thing to witness. So many people killed in their homes, dragged from their residences into the Gaza Strip. And when we talk about it 2 years later, it's hard to wrap your mind around the fact that there are still 48 hostages being held by Hamas, and 20 of them are believed to be alive. And we talk about these numbers a lot, John. We talk about the devastating toll inside Gaza and the destruction there. But it's when we meet with the families of these hostages that are believed to be alive, you really get to the core of this story. I think of a woman named Lishai Meron. Her husband, Omri, is still being held inside Gaza, and his 2 young daughters are waiting for him to come home. And you think about the toll on this family, the agonizing wait for 2 years, still not having answers as to whether or not he's going to make it home and to reunite with his daughters. And so there are just so many of these stories that we continue to follow as the 2-year mark of the war is underway. John?
But hope would seem to be higher than it has been in the last 2 years for some sort of resolution to this. We'll keep watching it, see what happens. Trey, thank you.
All right, let's bring in former National Security Advisor Robert O'Brien. Robert, if I could, thank you for joining us today. Get your thoughts on this somber 2-year milestone.
Well, it's still heartbreaking to think about what happened, and Trey was down on the front lines and exposed himself to great danger, reporting and bringing the pictures of what occurred that day to the American people and to the world. I went a couple months afterwards and went to Kibbutz Nir Oz and to the music festival site that you just saw, and to see the devastation, to see the slaughter that took place, to see the homes where toddlers were executed in front of their parents, and then next door the parents were executed in front of the toddlers. It's hard to believe the depravity of what went on that day. So it's a happy New Year to our Jewish friends, but it's also a very somber occasion for them 2 years later.
Meanwhile, President Trump says a chance of a Gaza peace deal is really good, his words, as these talks continue in Egypt. Here he is speaking on Gaza. This is earlier today. Listen.
I think there's a possibility that we could have peace in the Middle East. It's something even beyond the Gaza situation. We want a release of the hostages immediately, etc. And so our team is over there now. Literally every country in the world has supported the plan.
Yep.
I don't think there's anybody that hasn't, actually, not that I've seen. But there's a real chance that we could do something.
So President Trump says there's a real chance we can do something. How hopeful are you, Robert?
Well, I'm hopeful because President Trump has made this a high priority. And, you know, I said two things when I was National Security Advisor that drew some criticism. Number one, I said President Trump's legacy is going to be as a peacemaker. And that proved out in the first term, and it's proving out dramatically in the second term. He cares about these people. He doesn't want to see death on either side. He wants to see the end of the war. I also said that he's the greatest hostage negotiator that has ever lived. And I said that after Danny Birch came home from Yemen and we rescued him. And people said, that was, false flattery and that sort of thing. Well, President Trump's gotten home hundreds of hostages, including, scores of the Jewish and Israeli hostages that were taken on October 7th, 2 years ago. He's gotten home people from all over the world. This is really a credit to him.
Robert, thank you very much for joining us on this day. Appreciate you being here.
Good to be with you. Thank you.
All right, John.
Click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You won't get it anywhere else.